Welcome to Remembering Smallville,
a Smallville rewatch podcast.
I'm Daniel.
I'm Nicole.
I'm Kim.
And I'm Brett.
All right, everyone. Welcome back. It is season 3. We are so happy to be recording actually in 2025. Woohoo! We are going to be doing something a little different this season. We're going to double up a lot more on episodes. Even if it's an episode that could be a standalone, we might double an episode that isn't next to it. We might double up 2 episodes that we would normally spend 1 episode working on. Just kind of want to get moving a little faster in some of these early seasons and see how that goes. So that's what we're doing today. We're doubling up with episode 3 and episode 4. And just like all double features, we'll do half and half. So let's get started with a little bit of banter, and then we'll move right on.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask what your experience is around guns.
So I grew up with guns. My dad was the type where he would leave a loaded rifle behind his bedroom door, and we just knew not to touch it. So we were very well informed and very careful. We own a gun, but not anymore. We lost it in a boating accident.
Tragic.
It's awful how that happens, isn't it?
Well, yeah, we were on that same boating excursion and we lost ours too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Good heavens.
I used to have 3 guns, and now they're all at the bottom of some lake that won't be named.
That deep one. It was a deep. I think it might have been the deepest.
They've
Yeah.
never found the bottom to this lake.
Well, now people know what that lake is.
So I also grew up around guns. My grandfather was military. My brother was military. I grew up around guns. That's for real guns, but just a fun little story about airsoft guns. This is back in my college days. We had an airsoft gun battle inside the apartment building. I'm glad I'm not there anymore, so that the owners don't know. But we're having this battle, and my roommate came out and he started playing, and it hurt. His was really hurting, like worse than other ones. And we went and figured out he was using a BB gun. Yeah, a BB gun. When the rest of us were using airsoft. For those that don't know, there is a difference. And yes, BB guns, while not lethal, can hurt.
Plastic to metal, people.
That makes a difference.
Yeah. But Nicole, tell us about your gun experience.
So I'm kind of scared of guns. I don't have a ton of experience with them. I respect them for what they are. And I don't trust other people to, if they say, oh, it's unloaded. Okay. Sure.
Well, you should never.
So, right. But I also I know if in a survival situation, I'd be fine. I would do what I need to do. I'm going to live. I'll use whatever tool I need to use to make that happen.
Strong fight or flight response, strong.
Yeah. So either I'm running or I'm ending. So those are the 2 options. So I know I'll be fine, but I probably should just get more experience to get more comfortable with them.
I think she has the same fear of guns as she does of horses.
I do. I'm kind of scared of horses.
But you appreciate and respect
I
them.
really want to ride horses and it'd be fun to own a horse. What a fun creature.
And you don't have to worry about losing horses in a boating accident.
That's true. So yeah, a little scared of both.
Well, I'm not scared of guns. I do deeply respect them. I grew up with a lot of different types of guns in my life. Everything from airsoft to paintball to real guns to Nerf guns. And I've had a lot of fun experiences with them. I used to, when I was younger, fight all kinds of airsoft wars with my friends, and we went all out. It was a lot of fun. And then growing up in Boy Scouts, did a lot of shooting, loved black powder rifle shooting. I've shot a lot of different types of guns. I've shot a Desert Eagle, which is a big handgun. It's got a lot of kick to it. Oh, that thing's a cool thing. One fun experience when I was paintballing, I went for my brother-in-law's bachelor party when I was 14, paintballing with him and all of his brothers and friends. And one of his friends brought his own paintball gun, and the PSI was dialed up 100 PSI over the limit of the place.
Shoot.
But he couldn't bring it down. And at one point in the paintball battle, he was against me, so he was on the opposite team. It was him and me and one other person on his team, and I got the other person on his team, and then it was just him and me, and I didn't know where he was, and I was aiming around this corner, and all of a sudden I felt this huge pain on my back, right over my kidney.
You're like, I've been hit.
And it was his gun. He had shot me from 10 feet away.
Oh.
And I had a bruise the size of my whole hand at least. Just all around that well. Like it was rough. Like it hurt to like lean back on chairs for a while because it just like it broke some of the skin a little. I was bleeding a little bit and he felt so bad, but it is what it is. But I do want to, we should go shooting as a group. That would be so fun.
That would be way fun.
That'd be awesome.
With the new guns that we have before they get lost in another boating accident. But speaking of boating accidents, this episode doesn't really have any of those, but it does have water, it does have guns, and it does have differing ammunition.
Yes, it does. So let's get into it. Season 3, Episode 3, Extinction.
In this episode, Clark discovers someone is hunting people affected by the kryptonite rocks, and the killer's next target is Lex. Clark uses his powers to save Lex, but is caught off guard as this mysterious killer learns his weakness and forges kryptonite bullets.
Ooh.
This is kind of a fun episode. This is the first time we get kryptonite being truly used as a weapon, like a true weapon against Clark. So that's fun. It's kind of a big plot thing. Everything else is kind of villain of the day-esque, though.
It is, but I was really excited just from the get-go with the opening song, Way Away by Yellow Card. I'm such a sucker for Yellow Card.
Oh, me too.
Me too.
I love me some Yellow Card. I grew up listening to them when I was a kid. Oh, still love them to this day, and everything adjacent to them too. So we start out with the high school.
And Kim, can you tell us who the villain of the day is? What do you recognize him from?
John Tucker Must Die.
Yes.
His name's Jesse Metcalf, and he's delicious.
So I just have to ask, ladies, I know it's skipping ahead, but were we sad when he was shirtless?
No, I was all right.
Not at all.
Yeah.
You were all
I
right?
handled it just fine.
Okay, speaking of creepy people watching someone, there's a boy that seems to like Lana, and he decides to hide at the bottom of a pool
Yep,
to watch her swim at night.
Jake loves Lana. He's a thirsty boy in both ways. And Lana doesn't spurn him. She's not rude to him. He just goes up to her and is like, hi. And she's like, okay, hi. I have to go in a coffee shop now. Bye.
Yeah, and then the look on his face is like heartbreak. And you're like,
Yeah.
what?
And then Lana decides to do her nightly swim at the local high school.
'Cause
as one does.
Mm-hmm.
And she's an idiot because there's a boy sitting at the bottom.
Look, okay, she's on the diving board looking through the whole pool.
Right. You
She
would know
doesn't
there was a
see
big
him.
dark shape.
Yeah.
Brett and Kim have a pool. You'd know if there was a big dark shape in the bottom of your pool, wouldn't
Unless
you?
your
In dark
chemicals are
jeans.
really off and it's murky water because you don't take care of
Even
your
then,
chemicals.
we could see him.
Right. So she's just doing her swim, and Jake decides, this will win her heart. I'll kill her.
Like a
It's
siren
revenge.
does.
You didn't reciprocate my love when I said hi. Ha! I take you down.
Right.
Maybe
So
he
weird.
wants to give her mouth to mouth after, and so
Yeah, rescue her and
So
take credit for
weird.
the save.
I guess.
Doesn't make
but
any
he
sense.
like he
strangled
can
her for
say,
quite some
"Oh, the
time.
guy that was drowning you left. I saved you." You know, maybe
Sure.
Nicole and I were watching together, and when Jesse Metcalf is like, "Yo, you're stalking her," because you know her whole schedule. And I'm like, that's not necessarily stalking. Like having a crush on somebody and knowing like about their life is not stalking automatically,
Especially when her life is so effing predictable.
right?
Like, I think everyone in town knows Lana goes to school. Lana runs the coffee shop. Lana swims at night. I think everybody knows.
Yeah.
But if you're going to some of their regular spots to sit and watch them, that's when it becomes stalking.
Yeah.
So, you know.
That's creepy.
So Jake has decided, let's kill Lana. And then whilst Lana is being choked, Magic Bullet comes into the pool and kills Jake. Along with a freak rock.
Freak rock.
Yeah.
I heard
honestly-
free croc.
Yeah, that's what I heard. A free,
A freak
crock.
rock.
Like
That's
he was
awesome.
wearing Crocs, so
I love
now
it.
someone gets his Crocs.
That's why he was killed.
Can I take just a quick second to talk about how amazing that shot would have been?
Please.
Like, first of all, sure, that's relatively short range for that rifle and for everything he's got set up. But second of all, water refracts light. So you don't know you're actually aiming exactly at... He either knows how water's going to affect it, or he gets lucky or whatever. Like even snipers, like big time snipers, when they're doing hostage situations, they don't make shots like that. So this is pretty friggin' incredible for this kid.
Hey, he's been studying it his whole life, okay?
I
just
didn't
need to
know what
know.
happened at first. I didn't know he got shot.
Oh, really?
That makes
Yeah.
sense because you don't really. It's from like the other side of his body.
Yeah.
So until I saw him with the gun, I was like, oh, he got shot. Okay.
Well, at first I was like, wait, was that a bow? Is this a bow episode? I can't remember. Like, is this kid a bow hunter? I had the memory of him doing sit-ups with his gun. If you remember, like later he's in the forest, he's doing sit-ups in the dark with his rifle. And in my head, I pictured like a compound bow while he was doing those. And so I was like, is this the one where some kid uses a bow to hunt down meteor freaks? Is that what it is? And I was like, no. It's a rifle, which makes a lot more sense. Yeah, what an opening.
I know. Crazy.
So we're gonna get, instead of a villain of the day, sounds like we're gonna get a vigilante of the day, right?
Yeah.
So, talk to me. Was it warranted?
No, because Van was going to that. He was tailing his friend. He was following him to kill him.
Stalking him, like he just accused his friend of.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter. The fact that he saved from Lana was just a happy coincidence. Because in Van's mind, he's saving Jake from everyone anyway.
Right, that's true.
I agree.
Let's say you had your concealed weapons permit and you were seeing Lana get killed. Okay. So, of course, you don't want to kill someone, right? Would you risk jumping in to save her?
No.
Because you might drown yourself, right? Or would you make the shot?
I always think about the scene in Raiders of the Lost Ark where the man pulls that like sword out and is like spinning it around and like he's clearly really skilled, and then
Yeah.
Indy just pulls out a gun, boom.
Yeah.
So every
But-
single really good self-defense expert will tell you that the best self-defense weapon that exists is a gun. You don't want to be fighting someone with a knife. You don't want to fight somebody hand to hand. And everybody who claims that they could beat bad guys with their hands or with a knife is wrong. Like,
What if you don't trust your shooting skills and Lana's too close?
then you probably
What would
shouldn't.
you do?
You probably shouldn't be carrying your gun if you don't trust your shooting skills to be able
But
to.
in water,
And in water, that's a weird situation too, isn't
so
it?
would you? Okay, I guess what I'm trying to say is, would you take the consequence of accidentally shooting Lana?
I would try not to shoot her. I would pull out my gun and I would yell and like try to
Like,
get
"I have a
the
gun."
shooter
Yeah.
to get away.
Okay,
But I mean, it would depend.
yeah, that's a hard situation.
If she broke away from him and started swimming away and he was pursuing her, I would absolutely
Yeah.
empty the magazine into the pool at the guy. But other than that, no, I wouldn't shoot.
That's a good question. I like that, babe. So after our credit scene, we roll into a healing moment, a moment that was needed. I'm going to call it just one of the highlights of this episode. Clark
Yeah.
and Chloe are finally being friends again. Chloe invites him to join the Torch again as a writer, and you just see those smiles, and it feels like Chloe is back to being part of the story and part of the overall thing and not just a nuisance that annoys you.
Yeah, she's actually going to be part of the events of the series instead of just being like that annoying lady that's in the
Yeah,
I'm
she's
so
driving
glad.
plot now, not drama.
Yes.
But I do love. I didn't really remember this. I like that this season Clark takes more of the journalist role.
I have a question about that. So they never talk about him writing, really. Is this part of the show of how he learns to love journalism?
Yeah. I mean, his 10-year journey to becoming Superman is also to becoming that Clark Kent that you think about, the nerdy whatever guy that works for the Daily Planet. So over time, he's going to build an attraction toward journalism, and then you're going to even get some time near the end of the show where he learns how to behave differently in public so that he can actually show his face as a hero. And so you're going to get all of that. That's the whole purpose of the show.
And part of the reason he does journalism is not just that he loves to write, but that he can be close to all of the stories and have a reason to be there, right? Like if he's just Clark Kent that's always at every crime scene, then that gets really suspicious. But if he's a reporter at every crime scene,
Just like Spider-Man.
it makes sense. Yeah, Spider-Man taking pictures. There's a reason they often get associated with something like that, or Batman working with detectives and things like that. Like it makes more sense when it's that way versus, I like to rock climb, but I'm also at every crime scene.
Well, and remember what DC stands for. Detective Comics.
I did not. I never knew that in my whole life.
And this is a DC.
Nicole, did you know that?
Not even a little.
Detective Comics. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, let's get further into our episode. All you need to know is Clark is now back in the paper. Yay! His first story is about Jake, the gill boy, fish boy. And he goes to talk to Lana about it, the Talon, and she's like, I'm kind of on board with the vigilante. He saved my life. So get over yourself, Clark. And then they kind of reminisce about their trauma, which I liked. Mm-hmm. And then we'll jump into the big city of Metropolis, where Lex has decided, I'm all in, Dad. I want to be part of the family business. I be a good boy. I be good boy. Work next door to Dad, right? But in order to do that, the dad... Lionel's like, well, you gotta sign some life insurance paperwork and, cross all your T's and dot your I's so you can officially become the CEO's best friend or whatever title he gets. And
I had a hard time I had a hard time trusting this. I'm like, is there another angle, Lex? Like, what is your angle?
I think it's been, since we kind of had the holidays, we hadn't really watched Smallville in a bit. But Lex is still coming off of, I was on a desert island for 3 months.
Yeah.
Like,
I better get my priorities
I kind of forgot that he had this major thing happen.
And that his dad was likely part of it.
And that his wife...
Well, that's what bothers me,
really
his dad was a part of it. So why on earth is he like, let's snuggle up together?
Well, maybe it's the thing, you keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
I like it.
You can keep an eye on Lionel a lot better when you're close to him all the time. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So Lionel takes care of the Lex problem, or at least so he thinks for now. And then Chloe shows up, and she's offering a resignation. She cares about a friendship with Clark. And tell me, Nicole, what sneaky thing does Lionel do now?
Freaking Lionel.
This doesn't surprise me at all, by the way.
No, so Chloe comes in and is like, I'm all done working for you, thanks. I've got school and stuff. Okay, bye.
Clark's
and
my
he's
friend.
like, oh... Wouldn't it just be a shame? Your father got a promotion at Luthor Corp and he bought you guys a new house and it's going to be great. But wouldn't it be a shame if he lost his job? And she's like, you can't do that. And he goes, oh, please. Like, oh, honey. And what a manipulative turd.
Yeah,
he is.
He's being a real see you next Tuesday.
The longer his hair, the worse he is.
Is he the villain of this season?
He is, I think.
Yeah.
I think he's the villain of the
Overarching.
Yeah.
Villain, yeah.
He's got his fingers in many pies.
Lex is still not the villain yet, and you need a Luthor apparently to be the villain at some point. I think the most important thing about this episode too, for the episode's plot, is that Chloe has kind of changed the Wall of Weird idea to having kind of this list on her computer, and she has to suffer some hard consequences about that list.
Well, Clark's still doing his research on the dead boy Jake, and he goes to his best friend Van. Van's listening to the police scanners, and Van opens his locker and he sees picture of his dad who has died. Clark takes that information to Chloe, and they find out that Tina Greer was the one who killed his dad.
Yeah.
And that was in the episode where it was like fake Whitney.
Yes.
So Tina killed him. That was Van's dad. And because of that, Van is now seeking revenge on all the meteor freaks.
So this is one of my favorite things, and I wish that they'd done more of this before, and it does happen more later in the series, but I like when you have multiple storylines that cross.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it.
The fact that you connected a Tina Greer incident to what's happening here. This episode, not going to give anything too spoilery, but this connects to a future episode in the season. You have these things that weave, and I like that because it creates more of a need to watch all the episodes. As we've talked in our past 2 seasons, there have been episodes where we literally tell everyone, you can skip this one and be just fine. And while this episode, you could make an argument to skip whatever episode, that's fine. But there start to be storylines where you say, oh, if I hadn't watched the Tina Greer episodes, I wouldn't know what they're talking about. And you could probably piece it together, but not that. And then a future episode, you'll say, oh, I wouldn't have known who this person is. And it's good to know. And I think that just makes a season and a series more complete.
You can never go wrong with adding weight and purpose and consequence to whatever has happened. That is always a good thing in writing.
Clark has convinced himself Van is the baddie. Van killed his friend. He wants revenge on meteor freaks. They love to hunt. They have a hunting shed. Hey, Pete, want to go investigate? And Pete's like, yeah, sure, if it's not too far of a hike. But nope, it's a big hike, and Pete's not cool with it. They end up at the hunting cabin.
I love that he's worried, not because they're going to go find a killer, but that he has to hike.
Yeah. He's like, my idea of a hike ended 2 miles ago. And that's far. Maybe Pete's like, oh, this is really far. So they get into the hunting cabin, and Clark's like, oh, they have a lot of guns. And Pete's like, it's a hunting cabin. What are you doing? Clark easily breaks the lock. They open it, and they see the word freak painted in green paint on the wall, all the guns. And then they see like screenshots printed from Chloe's database of questionable individuals. And there's X's on the ones that are dead, and they see an X on Lex.
Yep. So he's next.
And so Clark super speeds and arrives pretty much just in time to save Lex from this vigilante.
Which I'm like, Clark, why do you bring Pete? Because you can't.
Yeah, you just
would you
abandoned
pick
him
him
on that
up
hike.
and
And now Pete has to hike back all by himself. 2 miles more than he ever wanted to hike.
Well, Clark could have super sped them in, like on his
Seriously,
back.
why even bring Pete then?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Run quick to the cabin and then leave.
Yeah.
Instead, you had to hike for 6 hours, you
And now-
dummy.
Now Pete has to hike back.
By himself. He gets lost. We never see Pete again.
This is why Pete leaves the show.
This is what breaks their friendship.
But yeah, good catch on the bullet there, Clark. He stops it just in time.
That was so cool. I loved that.
I really
and don't they
liked
find
it.
a flattened bullet somewhere, or is that a different episode?
Yeah, he does. He comes
Clark
in and he sees
drops it. Yeah. And then Clark runs to like catch Van and tries to like talk to him and stop him somehow. But I guess Van's backpack was made of lead at some point, because Clark doesn't realize there's meteor rocks until there are meteor rocks in
Until they
our
fall
eyesight.
Or he wasn't carrying them when
Yeah,
Clark interacted with him before.
Yeah, you don't want
Because
to carry that around school. That would
when
be
you
evident.
watch...
No, right now in this minute.
I know, but when you watch the interaction, Clark, his super speed dies and he crashes into him
Oh.
and tackles him and is like immediately. So like as soon as he gets within range, he's out.
Oh, okay.
That's good. I just assumed that
It was one of the
a sort
better-
plot hole.
Yeah, it's not like the necklace, how it would be underneath clothing and then suddenly...
And so, because of this interaction, Van realizes that Clark is a meteor freak because he watched him catch a bullet, but the rocks make him sick.
I don't know why this never occurred to me, but bullets made out of kryptonite. That's so crazy and cool to me. I loved it. So that's where he gets the idea.
And because of this, Clark goes to Chloe and is like, Van's using your database. He's using your list of meteor freak potentials as his hit list. And Chloe's like shattered by this news. Really
would
sad.
suck.
Ooh. She's like, I know, I didn't kill them, but I just loaded the gun and pointed it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like,
I made a
well,
kill list without
Yeah,
knowing it.
she
Yeah.
did.
The only really important part next is who's on the top of the new hit list? Clark.
Does anybody ever wonder, like, Clark, how'd you get here so fast?
Apparently not.
No one asked. No one
Details.
asked.
How'd you get to Metropolis?
How'd you get to Metropolis? Your parents are broke. Did you get a taxi? I don't see your car here.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
No
I
one
took a
asked.
bus.
The main thing now is like Lex was like, I'll sign the papers, but I guess Lloyd's of London, an insurance company. I googled it; it's legit.
Oh.
They're like, well, he seems to be pretty risky, so we don't really want to insure him. His liability's off the charts.
That's the most realistic thing of this whole episode.
Right?
That he's
Is
hard
that-
to insure.
Yeah.
Everyone's like,
Yeah.
you've almost died several times, and you just came back from what could be a psychotic break.
Did you notice Lionel's hair in this scene? It looked like the Beast from like Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
It is just like extra.
It is.
poofy.
That's because he's extra evil.
His hair is bigger when he's evil.
I think so.
I'm thinking evil. My brain has grown. Big brain.
Clark gives his hit list to the sheriff and is like, just look at it. I'm pleased that she's like, okay, I'll take it for what it's worth and investigate, which I really, really appreciated. But poor Lana is having a rough time because in her mind, the vigilante's kind of helpful. And she kind of does say, I wish the meteor shower never happened, which hurts Clark's feelings because...
Which
he's-
again pisses me off because Clark is her built-in vigilante. But she's pissed when he saves her. But when some rando does, she's like, ooh.
Yeah.
Welcome to the beginnings of the I Hate Lana Club.
I think you're already starting to join.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. For a while now.
okay, so our next scene was really a scene for Kim and Nicole. And for all of you ladies out there, we see Van doing sit-ups shirtless in the
200 of
forest
them.
with his gun.
Because when I think of a man, I think of him in camo pants near a fire in the forest doing sit-ups holding a rifle.
Home making his own bullets.
Yes. Yes.
This is what a real
That's a
man is.
man.
And Daniel, you and I have failed.
Apparently. I've researched the amount of money it would cost to make my own bullets. It used to be a lot more cost effective. But since 2020, it's changed,
really?
Unfortunately.
So it's about the same.
To start. Like, if you already had all the equipment before, like, 2020, and then you, like, started buying the supplies after 2020, it would be a lot more cost effective. But to buy all the equipment now and then to start doing it, it's still technically less, but you have to make a lot of bullets in order for it to kind of make the difference,
out, yeah.
you know? And I just don't go shooting enough. Maybe I would shoot more, but again, also, who has a workbench in an apartment to make bullets?
And all your guns are lost, remember?
If you're a van,
Yeah.
you just do it outside,
Yeah.
shirtless.
That's true. I need a special location in the woods where I can make bullets and keep my guns from falling into water. And I do want to talk about how when kryptonite is liquid, it is just green water.
Yeah.
That's when it's that hot, okay?
Sure.
So he melted it down.
Barely
And
an
then-
inconvenience.
Yeah.
Like over a campfire, which unless kryptonite has like a melting point of like
gallium.
aluminum or
Yeah.
something, it's not going to do that. But that's okay. It's fun. We get kryptonite bullets. But yeah, this is the most epic scene, this next scene.
Clark and his dad are in the field chatting. They're kind of having an existential talk about, am I like Van? I've stopped a lot of baddies that have meteor powers because they go bananas. Am I like him? Because that's what he's doing. And his dad's like, I think you know you're not, son.
Which I loved.
Yeah, it was really good. And then Clark and his dad are doing some work. And I guess Clark hears/sees the bullet. And he goes to just grab it with his hand. And he's like, at first he's like, ugh, this is annoying. Another bullet. He's not even like concerned really until the bullet goes through his hand and into his shoulder.
Yes.
Chest?
And I really appreciate the effect here. Sure, the CGI is not amazing, but as it exits his hand, you'll notice that the bullet actually wobbles in its exit trajectory before hitting his chest. Which I actually really appreciate because that's
Is that what it would do?
Yeah, because
love
you've
it.
like hit
Hit
all the
something.
like the speed, and so like this. Yeah, I'm not sciencey, but it would slow it down and change its trajectory because it probably like hit off some bone and stuff, and so it's like.
And then Nicole was wondering why they would need to use a knife here in this next bit.
Martha or Jonathan is heating up a knife. And I was like, a knife? Get some tweezers or pliers. Why are you fishing at a bullet with a knife?
Well, unfortunately, when a bullet enters the body expands from the kinetic energy, and that's where all the damage comes in. It damages organs and muscle tissue and all that. But then the body contracts again immediately, almost sealing the wound. Almost. I mean, not enough to prevent bleeding and stuff, but it closes a little bit.
Oh.
And so you can't just like reach into a bullet wound and pull it out right when it's fresh. You actually have to cut it out most of the time, which sucks. And so that's what they have to do here. And wow, would that be rough. And good thing kryptonite weakens his flesh so they can cut it. Can you imagine?
Oh, trying to get in his steel
you'd
flesh.
you'd be holding up like a kryptonite rock next to his skin.
Yeah.
To,
No,
like,
you'd have to.
And bravo to the acting in
I
this
was going to
scene.
say I believed it every second of it.
so
So
good.
good. The best acting of the episode for sure is Martha and
fantastic-
Jonathan here.
Yeah, fantastic makeup as well. Like that looked really real pulling that out.
And I like how quickly Martha takes the bullet away. It's like, good.
Get it out of here.
So good. Clark is unconscious for a bit here, which is good. Let him rest.
And then you get to see how he heals, which is fun.
I loved it.
Meanwhile, Van finds Lana in the alley where all bad things happen.
Yeah,
And
this alley behind the talon.
Lana's like, Van, you the guy who saved me. And he's like, Lana, I need your help. And she's like, I think you should turn yourself in. And then she like puts him in, like kicks him down a whole flight of stairs with a chain link gate, runs to call the police and say Clark Kent's been murdered, but Van's already right there. He's so fast.
Yeah.
All those push-ups really made him speed up those stairs.
Oh, he's trained. He is so trained.
So the sheriff comes to the Kent farm because she got a call. Clark Kent's been murdered. He hasn't. Just a barbed wire accident. Nothing to worry about, is what they say, because there's blood on his shirt. And then Clark runs away to go help.
And this time, Clark uses his brain meat to do something good.
His brain meat.
He probably pounds the shiz out of some lead to turn it into a breastplate and sticks it under his shirt and goes and confronts Van again.
Which I thought was so cool. Mm-hmm. But I never thought like he just like, I don't know how he forged it.
Yeah, he probably just like pounded it.
Did you guys ever see Back to the Future 3?
I thought exactly of that.
That's it right
So
there.
good.
What happens?
So I wanted her to watch this for a while. But
Oh, wait. We should just watch Back to the Future. Don't
How about
tell
we
her.
watch Back to the Future instead?
I've seen the first and second. I don't think.
Oh,
I've
the
ever
third
seen
one's
the
one
third.
of my favorites.
Yeah, the
That's
third
what
one's
Brett says.
excellent. Let's just watch it
We'll
instead
just
of
watch
tell
it.
her.
We
oh
won't,
man,
we won't
we're
tell
gonna
you.
leave that on
Sorry.
the cliffhanger.
It's actually
Okay.
a Clint Eastwood trick.
Yes, it is.
What bothers me is Lana has her hands tied behind her back. She hasn't been able to fight off this guy at all, pushing him down the stairs, barely an inconvenience. But after his morale is defeated because Clark isn't dead, she's able to like high kick him in the face into a trophy cabinet, no problem, and then he's unconscious.
She just got a random shot of adrenaline. I have no idea.
Seriously. But then we get this scene where Lex is thinking that he's maybe a meteor freak because of the hit list and all this stuff is kind of coming to light.
And he's kind of taking the heroism off of Clark and putting it on his survivability.
Yeah.
yeah, he's like, I survived the car crash because of me.
I survived the
Because I'm
island.
special.
And Clark's
I survived the
got
island.
no problem
And Clark's like,
letting
yep,
him
good, good.
He's like, yes, it's amazing the things that you can do. It's not me. So then Clark gets to pretend like he was hurt for Lana.
And she gets to touch his chest. Oh, it's just a little bruised.
Oh, yeah.
The flirting was epic. I loved it.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Why couldn't Clark have just been bulletproof? Like, that's his thing. I'm bulletproof. It would explain a lot of the stuff. Just because your skin is tough, I just have really tough skin.
Right.
Remember that time when I said I couldn't do the blood drive because I have a problem with needles? It's because my skin's really tough.
That's genius because I've thought about that from the beginning. Why can't he pretend to be a meteor freak
Right.
and just have that? That's
Right,
Yeah,
and
I
that's
At
like
his
least
thing.
with Lana, at least tell her, yeah, I am actually bulletproof. But that's it. Nothing else. Like,
Exactly.
Don't tell her
Yeah.
anything else. Say, I was actually born this way. It has nothing to do with meteors or anything.
Right.
Then you can tell two truths.
Uh-huh.
And then leave it at that and satisfy 99.9% of all of her curiosity.
I know.
And her angst.
But you don't think saying you're a meteor freak isn't a truth?
No,
Like,
no,
he
because it's
is.
not.
Yeah.
He comes from that planet where the meteor
but
But
nobody
the
can know
meteors
that.
didn't poison him and give him his powers.
I think it's a white lie.
Yeah. So I just think, what
But a
harm
meteor
would it
freak has
cause?
a bad connotation.
It does, especially because one tried to kill her like yesterday.
Saying I was born this way and it has nothing to do with meteors which is true, that it would be even better. But yeah.
So I don't know. I just think it'd be. I see why you can't, because like that information would spread and then it would become a problem later.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that Clark Kent journalist weirdo, so bulletproof. Like it just would be a problem. But right now in Smallville, I don't think it'd be a problem. And I just wish that he could give her something, give her a piece, because she's like, I want you, just tell me. And he's like, no.
So our final plot point for Chloe in this episode is she's trying to delete all of her files from her computer, and it will not let her delete them.
Because of Lionel.
Always.
He is the one who bought the computers. He's the one who paid for the tech people to install the software. So, of course, she can't delete the files that he wants to keep. And he comes up to her and says, you've been investigating my son, and it better freaking stop.
I mean, Lionel, again, you're an adult man coming and meeting a 16-year-old girl at the school
At
at
night in the dark.
It's weird. It's creepy. And I know you just let it go because it's the storyline, but it's creepy.
Look at his big hair. I can't. It's extra big.
It's because of the secrets.
And that's pretty much it for this episode.
Yep. Thoughts?
I liked it.
I think the writers and directors, producers had learned at this point that even if you're doing a villain of the week, you can still put in some legitimate story.
Yeah. Keep
And it
things
actually
moving.
sells the episode. as a bigger episode.
True.
And that's it for that.
I don't know if is it Super or Man?
I feel like Super just
I think
because
it was
of
Super.
we've never seen kryptonite bullets, so
Yeah.
we've never seen that he can actually be shot. And so I would say Super.
I'd say relative to the rest of the show, it's pretty super.
Yeah, I think
So
this
far?
is pretty good. I think this is a good one. I'll say Super for a couple reasons. One is that interwoven story that comes in from Tina, and then what comes out of this later, and you'll see it later this season.
Well, there's a ton with Chloe and Lionel. There's a ton with...
Yep, and it's a big part, I think, what you're seeing from Lionel in this episode, because in season 3, he is an overarching villain for season 3. I think it's good to see this episode for Lionel.
I agree.
We interrupt this premium program for this special announcement. We need you to follow us on social media. Our link is in the description.
Let's move on to the next episode. We are now talking about Season 3, Episode 4, Slumber.
Clark dreams he is being pursued by a girl who desperately needs his help, then learns she is a real girl trapped in a coma. Lionel demands that Lex undergo a psychological evaluation before hiring him.
I think that's the episode. So what'd you
That's-
guys think? Super or...
It really is. That's all this episode is. Clark
'Cause
has
there-
some dreams, beats the dreams.
Is there anything with like storyline?
Lex needs therapy. That's
Yeah.
about all you need to know.
So I'm going to say this. I really liked this episode.
Okay.
I probably liked it when I was 15. I hated it.
Did you?
Yeah.
I really liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a cool story. But it's definitely a man episode because it doesn't really go anywhere.
How about that first scene
Well, that we could put on repeat. But other than that, let's turn it off.
at
jeez.
Crater Lake doing the nudie swim?
Okay, hold on. Can I talk about this?
Yeah, tell me.
She flings her bra onto his foot.
I
And he's
know.
like, oh, her bra's touching me. Like, I was like, what's going on? I don't trust this.
Right. So I looked. He's dreaming for 14 and a half minutes of the episode. So the first 14 and a half minutes is
It's
all a dream.
Oh, geez. What
And
a waste.
so a lot of stuff happens, like plot wise, but it doesn't matter. Like Lex never hurts him with a sword. That whole samurai story, garbage.
However,
So
2 little sequences in this episode become part of the intro for like season 4.
Really?
The little like Lana Clark kiss in the lake that nearly happens.
Oh. And it's not even real. That's dumb.
And then the sword like hitting Clark's forearm and exploding. That it was a recurring thing in the intros. And so
both things that are in a dream.
right.
Yeah. What? My favorite part of this whole episode was at the end when she was like, who said anything about skinny dipping?
Exactly.
Like, I would never do such a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would. Yeah, you would.
I thought the girl who was Sarah, is that what
Sarah?
her name?
Yeah.
I thought she did a pretty good job.
Oh, no, she didn't.
No, she was directed to do all of that.
I wrote in my notes, ugh, the screaming episode.
Yeah.
This chick screams the most, a bunch, and she's like a big weenie. Like, girl, you know you're in a dream. If you know
But
you're in a
she's
dream.
been in a dream for a long time. She's
What-
probably exhausted from it.
well, I hate her.
Okay, what did you think about the Red Phantom?
Terrible, stupid, awful. What is this, Halloween Town?
Yeah, that 100% is what I thought.
Right, it's Halloween Town too. Calabar's Revenge. It's
Bentley
horrible.
walks in, of course, right when he's there. And I'm like, oh. And I was like, Bentley, it's just like Halloween Town. That's what I told her.
Okay, so I just want to point out this episode was released on October 22nd of 2000.
Oh,
Okay,
a
okay,
Halloween
okay.
episode.
This is the Halloween episode.
And that's why it's like a standalone. So I put down in my notes, everybody hurts. I think they play that
They
in the
do.
last scene.
Yeah.
It's
where it's
so
just like,
bad.
everybody hurts.
It's so bad. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
I liked it though. I thought it was good.
I think it's a fun episode because it's very different.
It's a romp. That's what they call it. It's
Nicole
a romp.
and I
it's it's for fun.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
for fun.
it's for fun.
Nicole and I just wondered if Kim's trust issues were going to be
Yeah.
worsened by this episode.
No, I've given up. I have no trust left. It's dried up.
So is there anything moments we want to talk about?
No.
Not really.
Everybody hurts song.
Is this the
Skinny
episode
dipping?
I fell asleep watching?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there really wasn't much to this. Let's
That's
be
a
honest.
big deal. Let me tell you right now, dear listeners, Daniel doesn't fall asleep in movies. He doesn't sleep through movies. He doesn't sleep through shows. He doesn't do that. and Daniel fell asleep during this episode.
So listeners, you don't need to watch it, but
you
it's a
can't. It's
one.
fun.
Yeah.
It's for fun. My favorite quote from the episode was Clark is trying to stay awake, and Chloe's like, Clark, I've tested the limits of Red Bull. You know,
Yeah.
even she said, "Oh, here's the quote. Even Red Bull has its limits. I've tested them," and I liked that.
Yeah.
Other than that, let's move on.
I mean,
So-
the opening scene is worth it if you're thirsty and you.
Yeah, that's good. Watch
If
the
you want to
beginning.
see the bras that
skip a
Lana
bunch of
wears.
stuff.
But there's an episode, 2 episodes from now, that is even better one.
It's even thirstier.
Really? Yes.
But you're gonna have to wait until next week. But thanks for listening this week.
Yeah, I think we can end there because we said it was man, and that's pretty much it.
It's fine. Go watch it, but there's not a lot to say. We've got lives to lead. We have work. We got to go cook dinner. I have got laundry to fold. So while you're folding your laundry, listen to this podcast, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks again for joining us in Remembering Smallville. Join us next week when...
We have another double feature where
Clark visits Colorado Springs.
And Lionel came from poverty.
Four friends on a mission: Daniel, Nicole, Brad, and Kim. Talking Smallville every week. The podcast a gem. Smallville nights we laugh out loud. Every week they make us proud. Daniel, Nicole, Brad, and Kim. In their world we find our thrill. Heroes fly and legends grow. Stories shared, they make it flow. From Clark Kent to Lex's schemes, they uncover every dream. Smallville nights we laugh out loud. Every week they make us proud. Daniel, Nicole, Brad, and Kim. In their world we find our thrill. You're watching tales of old. Their voices pure gold. Every twist, every turn. With them there's much to learn. Smallville nights we laugh out loud. Every week they make us proud. Daniel, Nicole, Brad, and Kim. In their world